some discord or something going on in this finite, seemingly finite world, it takes that, I'm going to consciously choose to remember that there's more than I think. I might expect this, but can I expand my mind to think this? I am more than I think. Ernest Holmes reminds us, I remind myself, and I remind you that what we're asking ourselves to do is look to that infinite source rather than the limited seeming effects of this world. When we look and we see suffering, can we acknowledge it? Perhaps even choose to do something about it and then say, but there's more than that. When we get angry because we've just heard about some corporate greed on the TV news, can we say, but there's more than that? Not looking at the effects of the world so much. I'm not telling us to bury our head in the sand. I'm telling us to remember that these are effects and they have a greater source. People are creating the effects that sometimes we call icky. But we can create the effects that we call yummy. We can. So not to get stuck looking at the effect of what looks so bad, but to say, can I be part of the one who uses that same source, that same power to bring good stuff to this planet, to bring good stuff to me, to the people around me, and by their extension, it's a ripple effect. Can I look beyond the effects and look to the one source more often than not? That for me is where the real truth is. It's not, do I sometimes go off on a really ugly path? We all can. But how often am I doing that versus staying in the truth of the one source? If I can say, well, you know what, more often than not, I'm staying in that truth of the one source, then good. And that's what I want for all of us. Not to stress out when we go into the pain of the body or that finite place, but to remember again, oh yes, let me realign myself with the greater truth. Oh yes, realign myself with that greater truth. How many times? However many times it takes. Every day, many times a day. There's something bigger than me going on, and I'm going to get myself back in line so that I may begin to experience miracles. Now let me tell you what Ernest Holmes, he teaches miracles different. It's not like some God came down and intervened and created this miracle for us. Ernest Holmes says miracles are the natural expression of the source. The natural expression of the source. You know why we don't experience them? I'm paraphrasing Ernest Holmes. Is because we only look at what has been so far, and we limit ourselves. Oh, well, it's always been that way. We limit ourselves, and we forget to think greater possibilities. So we stop our miracles from happening. We get in our own way of our miracles from happening because we only look at the small little, that's what happened. And we forget to say, I can have this miracle right now today because there's a greater possibility wanting to emerge here. The natural expression of the divine. If we could see it that way, this thing that I'm wanting, whatever it might be, let's just say world peace. Let's take something real big, like world peace. It can be possible if we think that it's possible. If each one of us put our mind to that kind of thing, we can bring about that miracle. When we stop the miracles because we go, well, it's never been, and I don't think it's going to be, well, then we're part of that problem. Let's stand in this new thing that says it is possible. Miracles are possible here. Now, it may not happen in our lifetime, but can you plant the seed for generations to come? You may not see world peace. The way things are going right now, probably none of us in this room will. But if we don't at least start to believe that it's possible, you see? So whether it's our own little personal life, and I don't really mean little, maybe I do. Sometimes it feels that way, like our own little finite life, that we are more than we think we are, and we have more power than we think that we have. We can expect those miracles, which are the natural outworking, the natural expression of the divine. That's a miracle. And we need to be able to see it as natural and normal. Let me give you an example that came to mind while I was thinking about all of this. Where we live here in this city life, if you go out at night and you look up, You don't see a whole lot of stars. There's some, the biggest, brightest ones you can see, but a lot of them, it's like, you don't see them. We've got too much light around us. It blurs it. You go out to the countryside, you go up into the mountains, you go out to the desert, and you walk outside where there's like no street lights around. You know what I mean? Like out where it's dark, out where it's natural, and you look up, and, wow.
Where'd they all come from?
Where'd they all come from? And you already know the answer, right?
Yeah.
They've been there all along. They've been there all along. If you took somebody who only lived in the city and has never experienced going out in the mountains or nature to see that, you would be very hard-pressed to convince that person that all those stars were there every single night. Because if they've only experienced that little, well, there's one and there's a couple of them there because the city doesn't show them, you'd be hard-pressed to convince them of the other. But once you've seen the other, once you've seen all those stars, and you realize, even when I can't see them, when I'm in the city and I can't see them, if I've seen them, I know they're there, and my mind now can take over. I can stand in Whittier and I can imagine, I can close my eyes and I can see the stars, because I have seen them and I know that they're there. Same with spirit. With your mind. Are you with me on that? The same with spirit. Once you have felt even a glimpse of the power within, you can take that anywhere. You can feel that anywhere. You can see that anywhere. Even amidst a moment where it's like, where is it? Where is it? Where is that power I believe in? I can close my eyes and I can say, I see it. There it is. It's been there all along. And what it requires is for us to take the time to look for it. If we take the time every single day to look for the miraculous, to look for the evidence of God showing up in our lives, to look for there's more than I think, if we take the time to look, we will find. Because we find what we're looking for, by and large. What we expect to see, we're seeing. So if we take the time to look for the good, to look for the spirit, to look for the stars, we will find it. And once we've found it, we can be in the midst of a not so wonderful situation, and we can close our eyes and we can remember. That's the power of our consciousness. We remember. And then we call it forth in our imagination. And when we call it forth in our imagination, we begin to call it forth in our life. That's the way it works. You remember. So we're going to take the time to look for it. You might have to look with fresh eyes. You might have to look in different places, but take time to look. We might not so easily see the God in those things I named at the beginning. Those things that pull us off of our alignment. We might not so easily see it in an egregious act of humanity. We may not so easily see it in the suffering of other people. We may not see it so easily. But it's there. The light is always there. And we are the ones that just simply open our mind, open our heart to say there's more than I think, and that's the thing that I'm going to tune into. Lift ourselves beyond the effects of the world, beyond the effects of our seemingly finite, limited situation, and open our eyes to say there is more than I think. And I trust it. I'm going to let Ernest Holmes have the final word. I found a little meditation of his, and I'm actually going to ask you to just close your eyes while I read this, and then I'll go right into the prayer. This is called the inner light. The light of the divine shines through me and illumines my path. The light eternal is my guide and my protection. In that light, there is no darkness at all. It is a perfect light, shining from the altar of a perfect love. O light and love within me, thou art welcome. Light shines through me and illumines my way. And so remaining in this place,